Assalamu alaikum. You're tuned into the Mind of an Entrepreneur show, and I'm your host, Sajda Wendy Muhammad. We got a very special show for you tonight. We're going to be talking about mathematical thinking, the importance of math with the math doctor himself, Brother Shahid Muhammad. So sit back and we'll see you on the other side of these commercials.
O Allah, guide me among those whom Thou hast guided aright, and preserve me among those whom Thou hast preserved, and befriend me among those whom Thou hast befriended. Bless me in whatsoever Thou dost grant me, and deliver me from the evil of what Thou hast judged. Surely Thou judgest, and none can judge against Thee. And he whom Thou befriendest is not disgraced. Blessed art Thou, O Lord, and exalted be Thee above what they set up besides Thee. I bear witness, nothing deserves to be served besides Thee. And I bear witness that Muhammad is Thy servant and apostle. Amen.
You're tuned in to the Mind of an Entrepreneur show with your host, myself, Sajda Wendy Muhammad. I am a multi-million-dollar business developer. I have developed business and real estate around the world, and I want to share with you my mental strategies, my technical strategies, and how I made it in the world of business. So I don't teach theory. I tell you about my life and introduce you to people who can also share with you what they've done to become successful. This is a practical show. This ain't a theory show. You don't want to miss it. So stay tuned. Peace and blessings, family. Welcome to the Mind of an Entrepreneur show. And tonight I'm very excited because we are going to be talking about mathematical thinking. It's a subject that I love. We're having none other than the math doctor on. So y'all come on in the room. Brother Shahid Muhammad is known around the world as the math doctor. I'm excited to have him on. Here's why. You know, the majority of everything I do, from building businesses to problem solving, has everything to do with mathematical thinking. And one of the key components that I believe is missing from the American educational system is the ability to think mathematically. There's a lot of us that are professionals. We go out into the business world. We become really good at our jobs and really good at following instructions and really good at just working through the set of parameters that are given to us. But problem solving is a whole nother set of skills. I like to say that there's no problem that I can't solve. Everything is just a math problem. And I remember when my business partner and I, Dr. Dorma, would uncover different problems in the business, we'd always say, it's just a math problem. Let's sit down. Let's figure out. So we're going to talk to the math doctor himself. I see a few of you here in the chat. Welcome, Pastor Duncan. Thank you for listening in. Let me bring my brother on. Assalamu alaikum, Brother Shaheed.
Wa alaikum salam, my queen. How are you doing?
Good. Come on in. Come on in. Listen, I was thinking about you earlier, and I said, how long have I known you?
Man, it's been years.
You don't want to do the math on the years?
Yeah, I don't know the math on the years on that one.
I want to say it was probably the 90s, right?
Yes, because I came to Chicago in the 90s.
Yeah, I think so. I think where'd you come here from, Brother Shine?
Philadelphia.
That's right. I do remember that.
Yes,
I do remember that. Did you major in math? How did you get off into mathematics?
Well, originally, interesting enough, I wanted to be an astronaut.
Okay.
I love sci-fi, I love space, but someone told me, which wasn't really true, that I had to go into the Air Force in order to be an astronaut. And so that kind of diverted me from that. Then I wanted to be an aeronautical engineer, since I said that since I can't go up, at least I can help the ships go up.
Right.
And I met physics for the first time in college and didn't understand anything. So that turned that off. But
you didn't like physics class, Brother Shaheed?
No, I don't think I had the wrong professor or something.
You might have had the wrong professor, because I was the same way with chemistry. I had this professor. He was from somewhere. I don't even know where. It was either Asia or China or India or somewhere. I didn't understand a word he was saying. But when I got to physics, I had a good teacher and I loved it.
See, that's what I needed. I needed your teacher.
Yeah.
So then I don't know. I just got back to original thought of being a math teacher. I kind of liked my one of my algebra teachers in high school. I just kind of pictured myself being him.
Yeah.
But I actually believe Allah guided me into this profession because of the impact that He's blessed me with to have on students all over the country. I know it's not me. I know it's Him, all Him. Just the fact that people just give me all these accolades of how they really enjoyed my class. Yeah. So I know I got to give it all praises to Allah. So
yeah, you making up for those bad teachers by being a good one yourself.
Yeah, we're striving.
That's exactly right. Tell me, so when I was young, like 3 or 4, my thing was reading. So I started reading at 4. Nobody taught me how to read. I just started reading. Was yours math?
I wouldn't say so. I was okay. Once I got into high school is when I kind of did a little better with my mathematics. I can't even remember elementary and middle school how well I did. I was okay student. Wasn't doing great on standardized tests, but it was the high school exposure and then teaching it. The more you teach it, the better you get at it, because you're exposed to it all the time. So once I started teaching the mathematics, I got a little better at it because I was seeing it all the time, seeing it from different perspectives, and you got to know what to teach it. And they say, Sister Wendy, that one of the highest forms of retention is teaching it to others.
Yes.
So when you teach that mathematics to someone else, then you retain it better and you learn it better and understand it better.
You know, you and I were having a brief conversation before we came on air about how many of us today are lacking mathematical thinking skills, like judgmental skills, statistics, deductive reasoning, critical thinking. How important is mathematical thinking to us in our everyday lives?
This is one of the problems that students have, and we have as a people, and people in general, is that they don't see the relevance of mathematics. They think it's just a bunch of numbers and letters that you need in order to pass and get progress through school. But I teach my students everything is mathematics. Yes. Mathematics is universal. If you're just sitting on a corner doing nothing, mathematics is going on. You got mathematics going on in your body from head to toe. Mm-hmm. We are a perfectly run mathematical machine. Every profession, as you were talking to me earlier, requires mathematics. We mm-hmm. use it all the time. Every sport, music, cooking. I mean, you can't name me anything where mathematics is not involved. And the enemy has made sure that we are not mathematically literate and not mathematically competent, not just Black people, even though we're on the bottom of the totem pole in America, but just people in general, all colors on the color spectrum. The majority are not doing well in mathematics because the educational system was not designed to get us, the masses, to be mathematically literate. And times are worse today than they were 30, 40 years ago, where there was some semblance of mathematical literacy and competency. Today, the dumbing down is just real. Mm-hmm. So if you're not mathematically astute, mathematically literate, you don't know how to problem solve, you don't know how to critically think, you don't know how to analyze, you can't reason. So the majority of the people, as the Honorable Elijah Muhammad teaches us, 85% are blind, deaf, and dumb, poison animal, either slaves to mental death and power. And a lot of that has to do with operating off of emotion and not mathematics. If we were operating off of mathematics, then we would be thinking critically. We would be researching. We would be analyzing, using reasoning. But most of us, what we operate off of is emotion. If it feels good, I'm gonna do it. You know, all I want to do is feel good, stay in that comfort zone. But we're not thinking critically. We're not analyzing, and we're not using mathematics on the level that we should.
Yeah, just basic mathematical thinking, like if-then statements. If I eat too much, I'm going to gain weight. Mm-hmm. If I do drugs, this is going to happen. If I perform this activity, these are the risks I'm taking, and this is the probability of the outcome. Some of that just misses some of us because that's just your basic mathematics. You know, you think about health, and the Honorable Elijah Muhammad says, eat one meal a day. And we go, okay, if I eat too much, this is going to happen. And so sometimes because we can't think mathematically, we can't discern and recognize the truth. Mm-hmm. We miss the truth because we're waiting for the truth to feel good.
Yes.
Right? As opposed to weighing it out mathematically.
Right. And that's why we're taught to use actual facts. And see, if we knew the actual facts of our health, then we can understand how to improve our health, how to better our health, sustain our health. And like you said, most of our health is, if it tastes good, I'm going to eat it. Mm-hmm. And we don't use cause effect. We don't use, that you said, conditionals, if then. Mm-hmm. And that lack of using that if then, because life period is a whole conditional. Yes. If this happens, then this happens. But see, we're not mathematically literate and competent in that realm. So we suffer in relationships, we suffer in our health, we suffer in business because we're not using that simple mathematical principle of a conditional. Mm-hmm. If then.
Mm-hmm. If then, and just unpacking that more so that our people really understand, our listeners, even down to using deductive reasoning. Mm. Like a lot of us can't discern truth when we look at the news, or because we can't tell the difference between marketing and news, because we can't make a deduction. A lot of times I look at news and somebody will call me and say, hey, did you hear this such and such happen? And I said, well, that doesn't make sense.
Right.
Because then I'll give a few facts and I say, okay, well, what's left? And they just look at me like, well, that must just be something you made up. How can I be making it up? Like, what they're saying doesn't make any sense. And it totally takes away our ability to be independent thinkers. So there's a tie, wouldn't you say, between mathematical thinking and independent thinking?
Oh, definitely. Definitely. That's why the Bible describes us as a people that are sheep like sheep. Sheep are not using mathematics. They follow whatever the front sheep is doing, whatever the shepherd takes them, they follow. And we are, as a people and as the masses, 85% are following the sheep, following Satan without thinking critically, without analyzing, without researching. And you can tell, as you said, by the advertisements. How in the world can the pharmaceutical business be as giant as they are with all the side effects? And they say it clearly. You take this, you're gonna have suicidal thoughts, you're gonna have black stool, you're gonna have your stomach's gonna blow up, and you still, with all that, take the doggone drug, something's wrong. But it's the fact that we just want instant relief, we want instant pleasure, we don't want difficulty, we don't want stress, we just want relief. And we don't think critically and mathematically. And that's why we're suffering badly.
And that basic even cause and effect, understanding what our actions or impacts and how what we do impacts something else, and understanding the totality of mathematics, that misses us too, because again, like you said, we're all about, well, what makes sense in terms of how it makes me feel.
Yes. And that's why, and the difference between inductive and deductive reasoning. Inductive reasoning, you making decisions based on what you see, based on a pattern, but it's not necessarily true.
Okay.
But with deductive reasoning, you're using definitions, you're using postulates, you're using formulas, you're using something that's sound on the ground. Okay. But because the enemy wants to master the masses, this is why he makes sure that only a few people are mastering mathematics. And the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said a quote. He said, "A people who do not know mathematics will always be subject to a people that know mathematics." Oof. And there's no coincidence.
Say that one more time, Brother Shaheed. One more time.
A people who do not know mathematics will always be subject to a people that know mathematics. And there's no coincidence we are at the bottom here in North America, the black man and woman.
You know what's interesting? I even say that our faith, our real ability to believe and have faith, is tied to our ability to understand mathematics. Because if you think about faith, okay, you can just say, okay, I got blind faith, I don't know anything. But in order to improve your mood, if you get depressed and you got to raise your vibration, you can use mathematics or mathematical thinking to raise your vibration. If you say, I don't have no money, and then you say, well, am I going to just sit around and be depressed? Or can I just look around and think about all the things that I've manifested as a result of having money? And so you start counting your blessings and counting the things that you're grateful for. Now your vibration has risen, right? And now you're more in a line with whatever it is that you say that you want. But if you're waiting to feel good because you're waiting to get the stuff so that you can feel good, then it's not going to work. Your faith is not going to be what you say it is, no matter how much you say you believe in Allah or Jesus or Jehovah or whatever. If you can't do something simple as count your blessings.
Yes, that's why in our lessons it says, after learning mathematics, which is Islam and Islamist mathematics, it stands true. It can be proven in no limit of time. Then you must learn to use it. See, Sister Sajda, you are walking proof of using the mathematics because you got proof and evidence of your faith. So you're happy all the time because you're doing the mission of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, Minister Farrakhan, and you're actualizing it in terms of your business. And you can't do your business without mathematics. You had a thought in your mind and you had to bring it into fruition.
That's right.
Minister Farrakhan says that's one of the highest forms of happiness and pleasure is when you can take it out of your mind and put it in actualization and realization. And you can't do that without mathematics.
Yeah. And I can tell you this, mathematics can even help bring you out of a depression using that same process that I just thought. If you're thinking about, okay, I got to manifest something, I got goals, I got something I'm working towards, you can bring yourself out of a slump because you got to get up out of that slump in order to think mathematically, in order to figure it out, in order to get the math problem right. You're gonna have to get up out of that low vibration. So math is just everything, and it's so deep. We're not even talking, brother Shahid, about just how the universe works.
Right. Everything is mathematics. When you look in the mirror, you're looking at mathematics from head to toe. There's so much mathematics in our human body. If we understood it, that's why Minister Farragon says we are mathematics. He says you have to realize that you are the subject. You are chemistry. You are biology. When we understand that, then mastery of that discipline, we master ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
And if we don't master mathematics, we're not going to be able to master ourselves, because we are intricate mathematical beings.
Think about our mind. What is it? It travels at the rate of 24 billion miles, the average rate of 24 billion miles per second. So I was telling somebody, I said, even you go back, you think about that mustard seed of faith.
Yes.
We're talking 24 billion miles per second. You ain't got to get it right but 1 second to get you the average of 24 billion miles. If you can manage to think right for a minute, and I'm talking about in that laser focused way towards focusing on a problem, if you can get it right for 60 seconds, think about how far you can go, let alone just 1 second.
Yes.
So I think we have to start to think like that. When we think about it, we get down and go, oh, I can't start this business, or man, I can't make this money. I can't solve this problem. Just put your mind on it for one strongly and keenly with no distractions for 1 good second.
And that tells us, because one key attribute of power is speed. The faster you can move an object, the more power you can achieve.
Yes.
See, the enemy doesn't want us to know that. He wants us to think power comes from a gun. Power comes from how many muscles you got. Power comes from how many cars you got, right? But true power comes from the mind. And it's a mathematical formula. So everything, there are formulas. And as you said, Sister Saja, if you understand how to actualize that faith and make it into manifestation, is a formula to do that. So if we get depressed, all we have to do is say, what is the formula that can get me out of this?
That's right.
Let me rise above emotions and get into my mathematical mind, put it on the table, and figure out how to get a plan to solve that problem.
Yeah, figure out a plan. And even before you get to that, if you're so depressed you can't get to that, just count your blessings.
There you go. Add it up.
Just add it up. Just start with counting the blessings. And then in that counting, you're going to get to where pretty soon, that's just how we learn math, right? We start counting. Then we learn how to do problems, simple problems, then more complex and more complex and more complex. It's the same way with manifestation. You start counting the blessings. Then you start solving small problems. Then you get to more bigger problems. Then you get to complex problems. And then you get to the point where you really into the deep levels of mathematics. It's the same way we learn math, counting first.
Got to have that foundation. Counting is part of it. Absolutely.
Let's talk about the children. I know that I have your website here, themaathdoctor.org. Y'all shouldn't have no problem remembering that. Themaathdoctor.org. THEMATHDR.org. And I know that you have programs geared towards children. How important is it that we introduce this form of mathematical thinking and learning at a young age?
Oh, Lord. We can write a dissertation on that. You got to start them as early as possible. I made a DVD called The Animated Preschool for the babies. And a lot of parents will say, well, what age should I start? I say, you can start this when the child is in the womb. You watch it. And then as it goes in your mind, it goes in your womb, and your child is learning mathematics. You might not see it, might not manifest till later, but it's going in. So you want to start as early as possible, getting your mind thinking mathematics. I'm talking to the mother now, and then putting that into the child. Then when the child comes out, surrounded with mathematics, objects, counting, shapes, all that, to mold that mind into a mathematically thinking mind, a reasoning mind, analyzing. don't do like most of our parents do. When a child picks up something or is investigating something, we say, no, put that down, stop. See,
Yeah.
we're breaking that investigative, innovative, creative part of the child. We're destroying that early. Just redirect it. They walk around with a hammer. Hey, it seems like you want to be a carpenter today. Hey, it seems like you want to build something. You want to be an engineer. So we have to redirect and increase in them that desire to want to think critically, investigate, all that. You want to start early because that foundation is critical. The earlier you can start it, the better off they'll be later on. It's those first 2 years, they say, where the fastest learning takes place in those first 2 years. So we want to put mathematics in those first 2 years. Don't follow this enemy's school system where you wait till they get to 6 years old to go to kindergarten, then they start learning. And in the preschool, they just playing around with Barney and SpongeBob and stupid stuff like that. You know, you want to put that mathematics in them early and build that foundation, because mathematics is like a pyramid. If you're missing that base, you're never going to get to the top. You want to start early and surround them with mathematical reasoning, thinking, problem solving.
You just made me think about something, and I think about the way of rearing that we were taught as colonized people who were afraid. Oftentimes, the ability to do mathematics, and I'm talking about non-technical mathematics, because a lot of us know how to go to school and be good students and add, subtract, multiply, and figure out formulas. But oftentimes, as children, as you mentioned, the mathematics is beaten out of us because we're taught to just be safe.
Yes.
So we get our behind whoop if we're doing a little bit too much exploration, yelling a little bit too much, not really teaching our children or even chastising them based on mathematics, but based on fear. And then pretty soon we just beat the fear of mathematics into them. And so now they're these little slave children sitting in the box, just looking to see how something makes them feel. Am I safe? Should I feel scared? As soon as I feel that emotion I don't like, oh, let me get back in the box.
Right. That's why they say, if you look at it, and I wish my mom and pop would have did this for me, the best time to teach a child to swim is when they're an infant. You just throw them in the pool and they learn instantly because they have that desire to learn. They don't have that fear and put in them like you're talking about. The best time to teach a child martial arts is when they're young, because they don't have that fear that we have as adults. I might get hit, might break my nose, whatever. But so that mathematics needs to be put in that time where that mind is a blank page and investigation is there, no fear is there. That's when you want to put that in and build that foundation.
Yeah. Most of our challenge, Brother Shahid, as Black people, when it comes to whether it's business or just anything we're trying to accomplish, is our fear of mathematics.
Yes.
It's our fear. You talked about your journey from the Air Force to just, all the way up to becoming a math entrepreneur. Give me an example, if you would, of a time where you can relate a setback to your ability or inability to use mathematics in the situation.
Oh boy. I would say some mistakes I made in my early years. Once I got to Chicago, I was young, naive, and made some choices based on emotion.
Yeah, we all did that.
Yeah, even though the actual facts are right there.
Yeah.
I ignored them.
Hey, Brother Shahid, what you say? The actual facts was on the list, like right here in your face, and you was like,
Even Ray Charles could have saw those actual facts. They were right there. But because of emotion, being young and naive, and the desire for pleasure and comfort, I made wrong decisions. Same thing with finances, cars and homes and stuff like that. That I look back now and I hear people like you with the knowledge and the supreme knowledge of business and all that. And I'm like, man, I made so many stupid mistakes. I did not use mathematics. I can't be the math doctor anymore because I made so many mistakes based off of emotion and not using the mathematics. So I'm glad you asked that question.
Brother Shahid, is that it's never too late, because Allah moves so fast. He moves so quickly that the minute you line up, you can be like Colonel Sanders and at 60 something build a multi-million dollar franchise recipe. That's how fast Allah can move. He can change it at a twinkling of an eye. You know, when I'm facing difficulties, one thing that some math that I count on, I said, I know Allah can fix this with the wink of an eye, a wink and a nod. He can change this overnight. He can change the trajectory of our lives with a wink and a nod.
Yes, ma'am. The speed of thought.
So our thought travels at the average rate of 24 billion miles per second. How fast does his travel, and how fast does those like the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan and the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, who are in the mind of Allah, how fast does their mind travel?
Come on.
I had a conversation one time. I was blessed maybe in about 6 months ago with the minister, and I'm talking to him, and at the end he said, thank you for allowing me to scan you.
Oh, that's powerful.
Think about that mathematical mind.
Scanning the mind.
Scanning the mind. He said, thank you. He just started asking me questions and I was answering them. I mean, what else am I going to do but just get humble and answer the question? And he was so generous. He said, thank you for allowing me to scan you.
And he does that every time he sits down and talks to somebody. He takes all the variables, puts them in a formula, and they can figure out what's going on with your thinking.
And then figure out the way you think.
Yes. And then the way to help you if you came there for help.
That part. Not only that's right. I call it the casting out of demons.
Yes.
Because those demons are those insecurities, those little wobbles in the way that we think. And he'll listen to us say a few sentences and then just gently go in and correct it.
Right.
And then you walk away, and that off thinking that could have become a live demon is now gone.
Yes, that's powerful. The power of Allah. With his servant, boy. Supreme mathematics. And we're taught that Allah, his thinking is mathematical. He has emotions, but he thinks mathematically. He doesn't let the emotions overcome him at all. So we have to, if we want to be like Allah, how are we going to be like Allah with bad math skills? Inability to think mathematically. We can't walk around, I'm a God. And then you don't have any math skills to bear witness to that. We have to be thinking mathematically.
He has emotions, but he thinks mathematically. There's a lesson in that. See,
yes.
Because when I started studying Rising Above Emotions into the Thinking of God, I went from that into becoming a certified emotional intelligence trainer. And what I learned was that, or what they taught us was that your emotions can be your compass, right? They can tell you where you are on the scale to alignment with the thinking of God. So if you're pointing in this direction, it may be fear, or this way might be anger or whatever. But when you can understand and identify those emotions, you can figure out using mathematics how to get back to where you are. So you said something earlier about not thinking with our emotions. And then you just said God has emotions, but he thinks mathematically. That means his emotions are just a tool that he uses when he wants to.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Well, that's why we can't understand a lot of his decisions, because we're seeing it from an emotional state, and he's thinking on a mathematical. He's thinking of his decisions affect generations, eons in the past. The Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan says. I mean, eons in the future. I'm sorry. So.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because have you ever had? I think about all the time things that I wanted that I'm glad now that I didn't get.
Yes, ma'am.
And I'm grateful to serve a God that is non-emotional and who is mathematically thinking. Right. Because if he was like me, he would have put me in that situation and ain't no telling what would have happened.
He already saw your future and made sure he deterred it, put it on another road.
So what kind of things can people expect when they go to the mathdoctor.org in terms of tools and
Yeah,
strategies that they can use, not just for themselves, but for their children?
definitely. And I do want to say that the Math Doctor Medicine is for babies all the way up to adults.
Yes.
I've had many adults that took the DVDs, watched them, were able to pass their nursing exam, able to get back into college, pass the placement test. I mean, pass their college class. So it goes from the babies all the way up. And we have the primary thing are my Math Made Easy DVDs. And now we've grown. We started out with videos. I look back at some of those videos. I'm like, oh, Lord, the low budget. Then we grew. Allah blessed us to grow into the DVDs. So we had to keep it to modern technology. And now with all the streaming, I said, man, I got to get rid of those DVDs because people are not going to take a hard copy DVD anymore. Right. Most of them don't have a DVD player. So now when you go to the Math Doctor website, you want to click direct downloads. As soon as you pay, it comes directly to your email and you can watch it when you want to. So we have mathematics that covers from the babies. As I said, animated preschool, that's one of my top sellers because it has music, it has animation in it, and it keeps their attention, but they also are learning what they need to get into kindergarten or first grade math curriculum. So that gets the babies prepared and gives them a nice foundation. Then we have a basic math, which goes from K to third, and we just build up to there all the way into our algebra 1, 2, geometry, pre-calc, have an ACT prep. So once they go there, they'll see those different things. We also have a game board book that I made. I was looking at Sudoku and I said, man, how can I make something similar to that? Because I really wanted to take off like Sudoku. So I have this game book called Kapata Haki.
Kapata Haki. Let me see if I can write that down.
Kapata Haki. And that's Swahili for make it right.
Okay.
And it's a game board, different game boards where they have the plus and minuses that they have to put in the boxes next to the right numbers to make it come out to a certain number. So that's why it's called Make It Right. So that's good for the critical thinking, good to get their operations going. That's available
for seniors too, right? When they're working to just kind of keep the cobwebs out of their brains.
Absolutely. Just something to do to, stay sharp. I'm trying to get it made into a video game where you can play it as an app.
I was going to ask you, do you have an app?
Yeah, if anybody out there has that ability, please get my email and let me know.
Those of you who are watching, who are app makers, the Math Doctor needs an app. So you see his website here. I'm sure he has a contact him space on the website. Flood his inbox with your information so he could get an app going. And
also, I have a place where they can contact me. I do workshops for parents, workshops for children and students where I teach them why we must master math. Because a lot of them they don't know. We ask them why you need to math. Well, I guess to count my money, I guess to pass my next class. No, I go through the entire universality of mathematics in the presentation. It's upbeat. I do a little beatbox. We got a PowerPoint, so the visuals. So if anybody is an educator, anybody's looking for a speaker, I do professional developments for teachers on how to teach mathematics to inner city. Yes.
Okay.
So all that's on there. They can just contact me if they would like any of that.
Can I add something to your repertoire, Brother Shaheen? I want to bring you on. I'm working on a weekend workshop for entrepreneurs where we talk about learning how to apply the supreme wisdom to your businesses, how to think mathematically, which I'd like to have you come on, we're going to do some improv so people know how to change up in different situations. But mathematical thinking for entrepreneurs, I want to put that in your brain so we can work on giving some workshops to help entrepreneurs learn how to think mathematically.
I like that. Definitely. We're available.
Okay, and you're currently teaching at Muhammad University of Islam?
Currently teaching at Muhammad University of Islam. This year, because I'm in Michigan now, I won't be there necessarily. That commute was just too much.
That's a lot.
But but I'm at Malcolm X College part-time, and I have my online courses, my own So I have online classes. I forgot to mention that. I do online classes. You can contact me for that. We're starting this September with online courses. And you'll be taught mathematics in a way that we make it easy, simple to learn. It's fun. We got humor. We have excitement in the class. There's no boring, dead math class. So if you want your children to get a mathematics or yourself as an adult, please email me, send me your information, and then you can get the information on the courses. And you mentioned something else I was going to say.
What about, Brother Shahid, anybody who has children that are having problems in math?
Yes, contact me. If they go to the website, they can get the DVDs as the medicine, but I also do tutoring as well. I just don't have a lot of time with all the other courses, but definitely they can get in touch with me. If I can't tutor them, I can give them the right video that will give them the medicine that they can watch over and over as well.
Okay.
We have multiple videos and DVDs.
That's awesome. Anything else you want to share? I'm going to be pushing you. You can use this video if you want to chop it up and use it again. I'm going to be pushing you because that's a big initiative for me, which is really helping people to move into mathematical style thinking. It's part of the science of business that's important for us to learn, which is mathematical thinking. And I'm definitely going to be tapping you to participate in that mathematics for entrepreneurs workshop.
Well, what I can say to everyone that's listening is, if you have teachers that are not teaching your children mathematically correct and they don't understand, if you as an adult are in a math class and you're having problems understanding your professor, please contact the math doctor and go to that website. I have reviews that I didn't, Sister Saja. I just learning. I should have videotaped these testimonies. Every Savior's Day convention, I get somebody. My child was failing mathematics, saw your DVDs. Now they passed. My child was failing this test, saw your DVDs. So the reviews are coming. I'm getting them compiled, and I'm going to put them out there. But I thank you so much, Sister Sajda, because I do need that outside exposure from the little Facebook followers I have and Twitter followers I have. I thank you so much for getting me out there in a larger audience. But I'm telling you all, the testimonials are there. I'm not just saying that because I'm trying to sell you something. Allah has blessed me with the ability to make math simple to learn and fun to learn. I'm not a supreme person in mathematics, but I can make it simple to understand. So please go to that website, see me, and get you some math medicine.
One thing just dropped in my consciousness. I got to say this, because there's people out there that think they real smart, who think, oh, they just talking about adding and subtracting and multiplication. Just run through some of the different types of math that you teach, taught, or can teach.
Yes, you have probability, trigonometry, calculus, statistics, low-level statistics, because some of the statistics are rough.
Statistics is like quantitative analysis. It can go.
No, it can get up there, boy.
Yeah.
But set theory, finite mathematics, of course, all the basics, middle school, elementary mathematics, algebra 1, algebra 2, pre-calc, I think I said. So any of those, and then the spiritual aspect that you were dealing with, Sister Sajda, I thank Allah for the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad and Minister Farrakhan, because I would not have a true understanding of mathematics on the spiritual level and how it connects to us if it wasn't for the teachings, because the teachings are rooted in astronomy and mathematics. So come on now. I would just be a regular Negro math teacher if it wasn't for the Honorable Elijah Muhammad and Minister Farrakhan.
Well, thank you, Brother Shahid, for joining us. May Allah bless your business, and may you have more customers, and you and your wife have more success than you've ever experienced or desired.
Thank you so much for this beautiful program, and may Allah continue to bless you higher heights.
Yes.
Even though you're already up there with the clouds.
Well, we're working on it, right?
Praise be to Allah.
Thank you, sir. Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum salam.
All right, y'all. We brought y'all another industry disruptor. I see y'all in the chat. I see Ms. Iwana in the chat. I see Sandra D in the chat. I see Sister Aletha in the chat. I see Pastor Dennis Mr. I thought you was Pastor Dennis. This is Mr. Duncan in the chat. Okay, welcome. So thank you all for listening, who are chiming in. If you like this program, make sure you like and subscribe and hit the notification buttons, and do not chip and dip me. Go to the Cash App, $Mo today. Give us a little compensation for this information that you all just received that normally people charge thousands of dollars for, that we are giving you for free. And I'm bringing you guests who are giving you supreme wisdom at no charge. So give them a little tip, give us a little tip, and make sure you support the completion of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad House. See, history matters. And I'm going to do a show coming up very soon about legacy building. You ever thought about how Mr. J.P. Morgan Chase died in 1830, but there's still a Chase Bank? We're going to talk about that. That's some of our Science of Business series that we have coming up. As soon as we finish the Women of the Bible series on the Sajda Saturday Morning Coffee Talk, we're going to start going into the Science of Business. And we got a Science of Business series that we're going to be going through. So with that, family, may Allah bless you. I thank you all very much for tuning in, and I'll see you all Saturday. We've been showing reruns every night here on the Sajda Wendy Muhammad YouTube channel. I think you all have been liking it. I had one video we showed the other night, and there was like a couple thousand views on it. So I see y'all like late night. So we'll bring some of the reruns. You can also check them out on your Roku TV channel. Okay, don't go anywhere. Check out these short videos, and we'll see you all, inshallah, on Saturday morning for the Sajda Saturday Morning Coffee Talks. And this week, we're going to be talking about Sister Zipporah from the Bible.
You belong to yourself. You're an independent people, created from the nation of free people. Yes, sir. You don't need to go nowhere but to yourself. Yes, sir. There will be a great separation. Yes, sir. So I said, it is on now.
The college is meant to prepare you for your future. That the time dictates that if we don't do something for ourselves as a people, we will be destroyed. And the aim of the enemy right now is to take us out.
We have God with us. We have Him as our guide. Yes, sir. We don't have to stand around here and ask the question, what must be done? Yes, sir. Get up and let's go and do something. Yes, sir. We cannot sit down. We cannot lay down. Yes, sir. We must get up. Yes, sir. And go to work.
Do you know what real joy is in life? Visioning something and bringing it into reality. That's real joy. Do you know what the next step in joy is? Behold how good and how pleasant it is for brethren to dwell in unity.
Tonight, you need to fasten your seatbelts. We're going to hear from some of the greatest minds in the world. I don't know about you, but I'm tired of trusting our future and the future of our children into the hands of those who don't love us. I believe we need to revitalize black leadership.
Greetings, conscious entrepreneurs. Add the Mind of an Entrepreneur show to your Roku TV lineup and catch up on past episodes of all your favorite Mo Today shows.